is going to start in seat 1 because it was a random draw. Your blinds are three. Hey, unpause it. Blinds are 3,000, 6,000, 6,000 big blind.
Oh, hey, Sunday. Welcome to our tournament final table here of the WPT Step Series. It's Step 2, our monthly main event. And we're down here to our final 9 late in the evening hours, folks. This is a little bit of later start time, but as always, as we know, for the very last Sunday of the month, prime time. And, well, welcome back, the Bronstein Bomber. He's already won one of these Step 2 tournaments to advance to Step 3, the six-handed event for the right to go on to the WPT Steps Championship. So, got a chance to go for another one here as at Phil Monday is going to start with a couple of aces and a raise up now here to 18K. First place besides the WPT Steps 3 entry is $5,300 tonight. Second, $3,400. Third, $2,400. Fourth, $2,000. Fifth, $1,500. Sixth, $1,200. Seventh, $900. Eighth, $400. Ninth, $400 as well. So our good friend All Pure, Mr. Chris Parks back here is going to flat. Tim, tournament crusher. This guy has, I feel like we haven't seen him enough around these parts. Is not a Vinny Tran. Can't imagine, unless he's thinking about a really super squeeze or he does not know that it's on him. Hey, welcome to the professors also in the house. And GK back here in the mix. So it's going to be a good tournament final table. Hit that like button, huh? You knew I was going to ask it. Why don't you go ahead and do it already? Okay, that is 10 high, all spades. There's at Phil Monday. We'll take just a little casual lead at this bet of 18K. Damn, quick fold here for Chris. So, well, that's our first hand, aces versus ace queen. And, well, I suggest you get yourself something comfortable, get something to drink, get your snacks ready, because this is probably going to take a while. So, Avanesh also here in the his. This is a pretty good tournament final table. Good mix of the fine folks that we've come to know and love in this program called TCH Live. All right, let's move on to the next hand. And, well, tragically, it looks like I do not have my laptop charger on me. So there will be no sound effects here for the evening, but perhaps we can mimic them in some way or shape or form. Oh, well, I thought I had it. I got all excited. Okay, well, nonetheless, says Avanesh, the old limp under the gun. And going to get all pure also coming along with this. So limpy pots. Let's see if anybody in late position picks up a hand and tries to attack any of the limpers. As Tim, call him with ace-6, and, well, there's your answer. Vinny Tran here with pocket kings. Seeing everybody limp, so expect this to be a pretty big sizing at this point. Oh, it's like 33K in there. I probably would think he's going to go like 30. Would seem relatively reasonable. Anyway, getting up by loading our chat so I can say hello to all you fine chat pros. All right, well, Vinny Tran's going to go up just a little bit higher, up to 50K. The Bomber here with, yeah, I even maybe like a small raise size. I think George can sometimes ponder or complete there, but a bunch of players stacked, not going to call out of the blinds, and Tim and everybody else also going to go away. So you could kind of understand why he might try to go the really big size up there, up to 50. I think there's probably a sweet spot in between 50 and like 30, maybe 35, where you can still invite some small pairs to try to, tag along, and maybe some Broadway combos that you can, in the most optimistic sense, stay strong after the flop and be able to take down. But Vinny Tran may just decide, you know what, screw the hell with this. We are just going to go ahead and grab what's out there and move on to the next hand. Seth Derrick's in the chat. The way, Nick from Yuma, pulling in some late-night chat pro hours. That's what we're talking about. Okay, there's Adam. And Hawaii Boy, as always, asking, is this live? We are on about a 10, 15-minute delay here. Live into the evening hours as Vinny Tran. Blinds 3K, 6K. It's going to bring it on up to 26. And Bomber, suited Jack 10. These are, like, from my perspective, like oh no, he's going to do it. They don't call him the Bomber for nothing. I'm sitting here thinking, well, maybe he could call, maybe he can fold, but there's the other option of just going ahead and ripping, and this is very confusing from Vinny Tran's perspective, as at this stage of the game, you're one of the shorter stacks here. The player with more chips is bombed right into you. You have an above-average marginal hand here to try to call off for the rest of your money, as Bomber is going to show it to him. No fear whatsoever. This man's already booked himself a trip into our semi-annual event, which is the reason why we're all here. Step 3 semi-annual event. We've had 3 winners thus far. Esther, our previous winner. Bronstein, Mr. Bronstein, there, our second winner. And Ricardo, our first. So at that point, step 3, get an invite-only single-table event of all of our monthly main event winners for the right to move on to the WPTT Steps Championship, which will be on a cruise in October. So now Vinny Tran having to be a part of the action literally in every hand thus far, has picked up pocket jacks. And JJ, pretty standard. Actually, probably going to go just under 5x. 4 point. Ew. GK, again, was on our final table with Vladdy. That had the epic comeback. And maybe the Bronstein Bomber is either tilted or he wants. Okay. It was realistic to think he could shove there, honestly. It's hard to predict in some spots what he may choose. He's going to go ahead and lay it down. And Phil here now with the big blind with 172K as looking in no mood to fold here. So probably not a spot he will opt to 3-bet. More likely to just defend, I think, in this spot. He can. I mean, if he's now what's probably going through his mind is he's seeing Vinny raise literally, I think, 4 out of the first 5 hands. So at this point, he can potentially think it's like a king 10 of diamonds, a queen jack, a pocket sevens or something like that. So opting for the aggressive route and taking the lead, a stacked pot ratio of 1, queen 9-7, and tricky spot here for jacks is see the down bet slightly here to 40. Here was some potential backdoors here for Vinny. Though realizing Phil's probably not left himself very much, so if you call here, now all of a sudden, okay, so say you call 40K, you've got like a 200K pot, so you get to a turn card if you just called in the spot, and literally with 200 out there, are going to be in a tricky spot. But Not buying it yet. Going to take it one more street. There is going to be the 3 of spades, which does give Phil a little bit of hope of equity. Go ahead and rip it in, Phil. And while you do that, while you wait, at Phil Monday KW, I'm assuming that's Twitter, Instagram, the entire brand, perhaps LinkedIn. Does LinkedIn have handles? Good God. I could not go to that wretched website. Okay. Would be a huge call here for Vinny. Still be some hope here for Phil to win this hand, and Vinny, with the board run out as it is persuaded to lay it down, and Phil with some aggression, and going to put Vinny Tran down to about 17 big blind. So GK, our big chip leader, may have glossed over that here at this point. So it's like, you know what? They made a highlight reel of me getting beat, and I woke up this morning feeling dangerous. So if I you interact with us here in the chat, make sure to hit the like button. Again, wow, 23,500 subscribers. Says all this awesome content that you're seeing, different stuff, here on our channel 6 nights a week. For your viewing pleasure, big games, small games, tournament final tables. What the heck more can you ask for except a sip of this orange slice of C4, the source of power that will guide us through this tournament magical final table, folks. Oh, wait, no, I want, oh, Jesus. Okay. All right, Vinny Tran here, literally just, it has to be so weird being on this final table and seeing that Vinny has played pretty much every hand. It seems to be of the solid type and not the I'm going to VPIP at 60% a tournament type. So there's almost sometimes, I think, when you get into tournament final tables that you're glad you don't have, like, very 50-50 decisions, and it's just very, like, easy. Like, okay, I have 7-5 off, under the gun, fold. And it's kind of stressful at times, and they're just sitting there kind of going, oh, well, now I've got to play this, and everybody sees I'm playing every hand, and now no one believes a damn thing. So do with that what you will. King 9-4 is going to be the best here for Vinny. Okay, all right, I've got the chat reloaded. Hey, Sharon here in the chat. This is Ryan Crow here, our boy Damon Williams. Carlo, the chat is here. The chat is here. Okay, Rejoice says. So we've got All Pure decided to lead with second pair. What? All Pure deciding to lead at this. And unless there was some kind of card error there, which is, I just leave a little bit of a window to believe that could possibly happen. And the 9 Triz taking it down. There's Mr. Casey here in the house. So, all right, Lewis, fantastic question. I'm getting myself loaded up and delivering here. So we had a total of 56 entries here into the prize pool, a $330 buy-in, and all spots paying here on the tournament final table. Okay, hey, Scratch F Kings, what's going on? Your boy Hillbilly War Eagle, Adi Baba, what's up from Sydney, Australia? Got a question from Seth, and I'll try to answer it as soundly as I can. As Professor here is seeing himself as short stacks, just above 11. 10 bigs, and is going to go for the early position jam here with Jack 6 of diamonds. So unless GK had folded his 5 deuce and the bomber here with ace jack, so potential tragedy in the mix as the Professor keeps getting here but just can't quite get to the finish line. And it could be a risk here depending on what Mr. George Bronstein decides to do. I imagine the son's watching. Oh, he seems to enjoy when the Bomber clan decides to tune on in. All right, so it looks like, yep, it is going to get through. We will pick it on up and move it here to the next spot. Yeah, there goes the button. Okay, 4,000, 8,000. That puts the Professor and Vinny Tran 11 bigs, 10 at 12, and everybody pretty comfortably above 2020 after that. Let's see, Hillbilly Mikey, how do you like that all-SEC final in the College World Series? I would like it more if Vanderbilt actually had to play, but that's another story on the whole COVID thing with NC State. But, you know, it's very sad. I thought Texas had a chance to maybe have a chance to go on. The guy that threw the pitch for Texas was actually the first baseball player ever called when I moved here. So I was like, holy shit, this guy can really throw. Okay, we've got the Bomber here with sixes. Auto shove, one off the UTG. Lines 4,000, 8,000. And let's see if anybody here likes pain. Okay. To Andrew Vodine Poker Vlogs. This what was the prize pool for this tournament, Mikey? This was a 20K prize pool. That's where it's at. Okay. Next hand, very exciting college sport. I don't generally watch it very often, but you get brought up in the local stuff, and it was very entertaining to watch Texas through some of these rounds. And Austin FC, no fucking score in that game tonight, but it was a really exciting one to watch and looked like it was a really fantastic environment. So we strive to have that level of chanting on TCH Live and behind the table here at this point, but, you know, soccer, just, you know, more energetic game. Okay. Invite your questions as well. Oh, Seth, hey, my question, bro. I always love this one. I'm military, and I'm thinking about getting out. Can I make a living dealing? There's a lot of things going on with that question. Okay, Tim is going to shove here on the button, 97K. Putting pressure on Vinny. So, easy does it. First, well, okay, you're trying to get out of the military. I don't know anything enough about the military as to how often that becomes a voluntary thing, but you can certainly make a living dealing if you're good at it. There's a lot of different ways to learn. If you have any background or experience, there's plenty of room for you out there. I mean, do you want to do that forever? Probably not, but it will always be a very useful skill to have. So, Andrew, I thought I would have smacked it. It didn't break. Oh, well. I think right around, but Tim here with the shove and the cutoff. Pocket deuces, seals pretty standard. See if Vinny or Professor find a hand they're going to have to force to play. No, not a darn one in the stack here. Okay, we've got our boy ATX Poker here in the house. In case you're talking about some crazy shenanigans happening. Hey, Rick Bronstein, what's up, Mike? Rooting on the Bomber. Got to chat with AA Ron playing in the H-Town tournaments. That's good. Nice ambassador for everybody. Bring you your next hand, folks. These are, I believe, 30-minute levels for this tournament, so even if it wasn't like a massive list of entries, like it still gives you a lot of play, and it is also kind of why we tend to stream these way later when there are monthly mains. So, Charles bringing up a fair point here. I guess I should have specified, are you going to be dealing poker or dealing something else? Because if we're dealing something else, I don't endorse it. Though I'm sure somebody out there can give you advice as to how to jump from one end to the other. Okay, that is GK. The chip leader really hasn't had a playable hand in this bunch, but that may not stop him from defending with the old 8 Dewey. You gotta love this. Says min raised, I could pretty much call with any two. Sorry, just read a pretty good smart-ass comment. As no spade in either hand. Phil Monday with bet. Easy bet and fold. And all right, we had a question in here. Yo, guys, been curious for a while. How do we see the cards from stream? They like scanned or something. And I think most people know, like, their RFID scanners. See those blue dots, white dots, blah, blah, blah. Cards go scanny into the computer through a series of tubes to the back here. Yada, yada, yada. But the response that I enjoyed, Astro No Not. The cards have the COVID vaccine in them, and the table can read them. It's really breaking down the science pretty good there, sir. Leaders of industry and the brightest and the greatest, all grazing our chat here at this moment in time. So hit the like button for us so we can get the good word out and share the knowledge and wisdom it's taken the many hundreds of years and all of our experts and entertainers as, well, okay, all pure folding. Yeah, it's not probably deep enough to feel like, okay, I open. Big game James here, going to raise up here to 24K. Vinny Tran thinking about it. The old 3-bet shove all in with Queen 10 has brought me many pain. Much pain. I don't think you can have many pain, but Bomber's got a smoke in, so he's ready to party. He's going to opt here to see. This is excellent strategy for anybody who wants to take a break from the table. Is like, if you're sitting in the small blind, you know, you can maybe opt to sit out so that you know the action goes longest around the table. And then you can go, you know, puff and do what you do. And if the hand plays out, that gives you a good solid, like, minute and a half to 2.5 minutes. But sometimes more. Talking about like a bomb pot, you'll get an opportunity there to take a breather from the table. But hey, Dealer Greg here in the house. My good friend, Dealer Greg. Okay, all pure. Folding. Tim. Nick from Yuma. Bomber doing his best Sammy Farhad impersonation. You know what? That's might be an ode to a king. Fester here with a shove in the cutoff. He's got ace-5. What the hell guess you're supposed to do? ATX Poker bringing an agonizing chat topic to me, which is no great one that I'll step back at here. So Navanesh with no hand, the professor should be able to get the good old-fashioned steal. And it's next hand. He shows the ace. Okay, ATX Poker. Hey, chat pros and Mikey, how do you make your PB and J, PB on top, or both? Typically, you know, I've generally been too lazy for the J. And now since I'm doing the keto stuff, I've had no carbs for the last 2 weeks for the most part. So I hate that you're bringing this up. I mean, I love you as a friend, but you're like, damn it, that does sound pretty good. But that might be the perfect TCH live snack. It's PB&J time, folks. Make yourself a Sammy and hit that like button as Seth Derek Mike, you sipping on a brewski. The only brewski I sip on is the superhuman performance of C4 Energy. Over 200 milligrams of caffeine coursing through your veins for your entertainment value, as all pure opens with pocket eights. I actually don't. I've grown less to like drinking on stream because eventually you just get tired. So GK, tired of folding, is going to late position 3-bet 52K. It may work effectively. Well, Avanesh going to call out of the small blind, which is not something you see every day, and kids don't try this at home. Out of position ace-jack will lead you down dark roads, but he does technically have the best hands. Maybe he has superhuman instincts. And Mr. Chris Parks here, if all pure. Oh, no. Are you thinking about 4-bet? It pretty much has to be 4-bet shove here, or call, so. We'll take a flop 3 ways, 172K here on this tournament final table. Jack, King, 6. Nick from Yuma Poker Face, Avanash. It's very good. And Avanash here. Well, eloquently put down a 30K bet. And GK is sitting happy. This has worked out as well as he could ask for. It also has backdoor spades, potentially, if needed. I wouldn't terribly mind if he just calls in position. I mean, obviously, there's enough kind of hands that Avanesh could potentially just try to lead with that may still continue with some level of aggression. Say, like, he overcalls with, like, king-queen suited and leads. But it does invite him to essentially get away from the pot. But if it often seems like, and I don't necessarily know if, like, what method is 100% purely correct, but you're sometimes just making moves to just say, like, I'm not going to let this pot get any bigger. We'll just take care of it right here. So GK running away from the field. And no, we are currently 9-handed right now. What's going on, JTN? Sorry, I'm late. How far along are we? Well, we've not gotten elimination. We've had many players try by getting their money in the middle, but no hands have totally tangled up, so it's been a mostly patient. And Tim with no reason to be patient any longer, as we'll push it on in for 137. People saying Joel didn't miss anything. You missed some of my comedic ramblings. I mean, that's always at least a nice extra touch on the end of Sunday. If you're done watching Rick and Morty, just kind of listen to my BS. Okay, nobody with a hand, and well, Phil was thinking about it for a moment, but realizing in his way too many chips in there to be calling. All right, your boy Matty J also here in the house. Lawrence Popper. Yes, this is a tournament final table, or WPT Steps 2 monthly main event. It's the last Sunday of every month. It's a $20K guaranteed tournament. Single re-entry that starts with 2 p.m. And with that, everybody who is going to lose cash on this tournament final tip. We've shown the winnings up there. We did extend the payouts to 8th and 9th at one point. I think probably as the tournament final table was actually starting. So just a word of the wise. Dealer Greg, it's going to be a late night. That's why I'm armed with C4. I'll be pacing up and down my apartment until 4 a.m., but it'll be worth it. Okay. As James under the gun raised. What does he got under there? I think he's packing. I think it's ace king better. Casey, Mike got a co-pilot lined up for tomorrow night. Not yet, but the door is open if Bones wants to take a week off from destroying everyone on the felt. We get the tablet back here. I could watch that game tomorrow night. Yeah, let's get a good Bones visit here to the booth tomorrow. Does All Pure going to defend? Okay, he is. Okay, he will call out of the small blind, which will leave him about 90K. Side to pot like 2, and unless he was trying to, I think what he was trying to do was re-raise, but James had opened with ace queen, so if it is going to be a min raise back, it may just invite James to push it all in right in the middle. As a shove. A precarious spot here for All Pure. But if you do actually use All Pure Sanitizer, you'd never really be in a bad spot whatsoever. It'd be just a little bit cleaner. All Pure Sanitizer, the best in the biz. Our good friend Chris Parks says, unfortunately, though, he may need to rub his hands together for some good luck and sanitation. So that one felt kind of gross. All right. All right. Bone's going to be on the foul, so we will still be back to the drawing board. Just fly Nick from Yuma down here for this Monday one, and that might make my week. As I review some of the questions. Hey, Matty J apparently came out of surgery. Hey, man, hope you're doing okay. JTN at Mike Youngblood. I have a challenge for you. Be sure to deal me quads the way Greg Potter did to me at TCH Dallas on Thursday. Well, that means bringing your butt down here, Joel. So, you just tell me when you're going to be here, and I'll try to deal your quads. And if you happen to get quad deuces on Monday, that gets you on the TCH cruise. If you get quad threes on a Tuesday, that gets you on the TCH cruise. And if you hit quad fours on Wednesday, that gets you on the TCH cruise. So, on your bike, come on down here, and I'll try. All Pure shoving here with ace king, so a chance for him to double up and a little bit more potentially, as the professor shipping in here with king queen of diamonds and not the master of timing. James here with ace 10 of diamonds, a chance to potentially dock out 2 players, would roughly be half his stack. Just a little under half, and I think if it had just been the professor and everybody had folded to him, probably going to call, but with All Pure getting in the mix, that may have forced him to like to think otherwise. So Chris has got the Professor dominated. But can the Professor find any other diamonds under there? There's already been at least a few that have been folded. Does get a run out? Scanning. Oh, there's all spades too. So this just does give him some hope with a jack or a queen still, but it cannot be a spade. And is going to brick out. Here for both ace king high going to be the best, and unfortunately the Professor going to be down to 56K. So he's still at least got a chip and a chair, and we've seen it here on TCH Live on Sunday, that's often good enough. So good recovery. Buyer, good friend, all pure. JTN says starting a new job. Congrats, man. Glad you're stepping in the positive direction. Wait, people can't complain that you're not at work. Why are more people working? Okay. Henry bringing up a hand. I'm sorry I didn't read that earlier with a king-jack versus ace-jack between GK and Avanesh. Donking seems pretty value-heavy in the small blind, which makes the check raise seem bad because it gets all the marginal hands to fold out and you're blocking with a king-jack, so if he calls, it's not that great. Well, it wasn't necessarily a check raise. It was a raise in position. So, but I don't disagree with what you're saying. Professor shoving here with the 10-8 of clubs. The dude talking. Literally my hand. It's been patented. The Choctaw nuts has been folded. If we get a 9 triz here, my head may explode. As Vinny Tran. Would love to welcome a hand that may play better multi-ways, but that is not going to be one of it. So, Professor facing elimination up against the Rockets. It's the only Rockets of note, John Wall and Christian Wood, and top set. So, the only chance to hope for a chop has got to be a 5, and he gets it. The Professor will not go quietly here. Oh, Phil. That is a kick in the nuts there. Professor should have been exiting towards the parking lot, starting up his vehicle, checking his social media, and instead will get to post his big blind and ante of 8K, 8K. Ah, that's pretty sick. Get a chop there as next hand. Here in our $330 buy-in, 20K guaranteed tournament, our WPT Steps 2. The winner chicken dinner will go to WPT Steps 3, which will already feature George LeBronstein, Bomber, Esther, and Ricardo, our first 3 winners. And 6-handed sit and go. Well, I don't know if I'd really call it. Yeah, I guess it would be technically a sit and go, but it's essentially a final table. Winner would be Crowd, the venue champion of Austin. I hope you get like a championship belt. I'm trying to convince them that they should have a championship belt, but I think that's not in the cards. Maybe I'll just make one and bring it out myself. Blinds folding, so the Professor getting a walk at a much-needed time. Dun, 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 dun. See, okay, Casey, it's him. Chaz is playing, but he's been really enjoying commentary lately, so I'm surprised to see him in the booth more often. I welcome it. I think people value that more than anything, as even if you're somebody that carries a lot of knowledge, you know a lot of theory, it might be entertaining or something, but like it's just a different element of credibility if it's like, yeah, you've played in this game multiple times, and people are curious if there's a different level that people think on, and to his credit, he's very funny. James Harris, I would love to hear Chris Parks in the booth with you. He's a funny guy, super smart. Yeah, that would be cool. I gotta start like accumulating a list so that I, you know, as GK gonna raise out of the big blind up to 60K with the 5 deuce of hearts. Phil had limped early in middle position, ace 5 of spades. I'm guessing the professor realizing that he was going to have no chance of... I guess maybe he could have had some chance of pushing somebody out if he shoved, but... just realized I have forced myself to have to fold this, says... Casey said he'd like to hear Slicer in the booth sometime as well. He's a really sharp dude. Yeah, no kidding. That's checking. And that's a great flop there for Phil as straight draw, flush draw, bottom pair for GK, who technically has on flopped his opponent, but it just an epic F-ton of cards that could potentially come to improve Phil's hand as Phil going to check back, take a freebie, and a 5 on the end will give him a little bit of showdown value. And now GK has made 2 pair, and Phil has the spades in hand, so it knows it's probably the type of hand that it could potentially be bluffing with. This has to be extremely confusing from @Phil Monday here. Though for GK, I'm sure with the size up to 60K pre, there's a lot more Jack X and Queen X hands that I think could be rep, but could he think maybe GK floated him with Ace King? Maybe he had a hand like 4-5. I mean, it looks like a bluff catching spot, but it's also against a hand that would typically rarely ever raise out of the big blind. So I can sense his confusion. So Phil, tanking here, has made a pair of 5s. I'm sure there are some hand combos you can kind of come up with that if you're looking to make the serious hero call on a guy that has played a wide variety of hands, can logically make sense, but sometimes this game is illogical. ATX Poker Commentary is an art form. You do a good job, MJ. I miss Kevin with you. Me as well. I do as well, but who knows? Maybe we'll see him back around this. ATX Poker, you could eat Apple in the booth, and he could just repeat that we didn't know anything about poker. You know, it's really my preference of people to do commentary with, to be honest. Yeah, just somebody just telling me I'm stupid. It really makes me work harder. Okay, read some more chat comments here, Paul. Phil ponders a hero call. That will potentially wreck his hand as, boy. Gary C in the chat. Exciting moment, says nobody. Right, and we'll make the fold then. GK going to continue to lead the way. 765K. On a lot of wiggle room for him to be able to flex his muscle, but now also still seeing, oh wow, that's like the majority of the players at 16 bigs or less. And you love to be able to play aggressively, but you also don't want to be the bank that doubles up half the table and just leaves you back to where you started. That's Seth, Derek, Mike, who is the best cash game, no limit hold'em player alive in your opinion? This is really controversial, and you know I know most people will agree with me, but I will get probably some pushback. But it's probably Lottie. Okay. Next hand is Tim with ace 10. Fooling around at the blinds. And I think I heard somebody say, gentlemen, have a good night. Have fun. Guessing that was Superfloor Bert. Bomber with no hands, so we spent a lot of time waiting for that. There's Andrew Verdeen talking about the last hand of calls bad here. He blocked the ace high flush. You want them to have to bluff, right? So people are suggesting people to have Zoom in. Joey Ingram, that'd be cool. Let's see, you can also probably get Nick from Yuma to zoom in. I'd be down for that, but he'd probably be wearing something over his head in the dark. Will be still a mysterious figure that looms everywhere. Well, but he trained with Ace King. He was forced to play literally like every hand at the start and just kept picking up playable hands and has not had anything for a round. And we'll push it all in with Ace King. And Avanesh with a couple of ladies. There's Insta calling all day and twice on Sunday. So here we go. And top pair flopping. Avanesh going to need to hit a lady. And Deuce is going to do it. Is now 7 of diamonds. Vinny Tran, the short stack, gets the double up. As we've not had an elimination yet. And what is it? It is 5 minutes to 11 o'clock Central Standard or Daylight Time out here in beautiful Austin, Texas, where I could step outside and not feel like my skin was slightly melting and the last bristle of sweat dripping from my body as you sit in the intense heat and humidity. It's going to be some rain showers, a little bit cooler air. But if you're hanging out in a poker room, you've always got a comfortable spot to be. As good Lord, it's always a comfortable temperature here at Texas Card House in Austin, where, again, we stream 3 out of the 6 nights a week here on TCH Live, 23,500 subs. And keep helping us pump the good word of TCH Live by hitting that like button for us as our WPT steps to a final table. Nick from Yoma suggesting Steve Aoki zoom in. You know, I'm sure he comes at a pretty efficient cost. Great value for us. GK now in the cutoff. Blinds 5,000, 10,000 with the 10,000 big blind. Annie is going to make it 22. I like it. I like it. Broadstein Bomber here with the Doyle Brunson. Stand up, sit down, reassure, reassess, and recheck. This is the way. George likes to invite the idea sometimes that it might be a spot he can jam on and maybe play aggressively. So I don't hate on him for it. It's like you got to examine all your options. Avanesh here with Ace King, no doubt, and GK is like, I just want to bust somebody from this. Somebody has got to go. And what I feared here is a chance for him to potentially double up Avinash. So here we go. Burn it, turn it, and 4-4-3. Down. We're going to get a 10. We're going to get a 10, and will not arrive. So Ace King staying alive as Avinash up to 190K. No short stack has busted yet, and the Professor, probably the closest, was pretty much all but running dead to runner chop, as was scheduled to go out with the 10-8 of clubs versus aces. Got the chop, and still hanging on in. And, you know, he gets one double up, and then it turns into another double up, but then he's kind of, you know, right there in the mix between, you know, second and fifth. And with the amount of time that you get in these levels, I believe the starting stack is 30K. Thanks for stopping by, ATX Poker. Always good to see you. Bomber with the Jack Queen offsuit, 23 bigs. I feel like a big size. He's going to make it like 4x there. Boom. There you go. 45K. Word to your mother. Flexing. Bringing the hammer down. That is the Bronstein way. There's Avinash, though, on the button with King Queen suited. And this is why, you know, the Bomber's bets become so very, like, difficult for just kind of hands like this. But Avinash making their correct decision. Ripping it with the old King Queen suited. Dirty Dan, the Professor's the short stack king. That's a fact. That is a fact. Gonna get a crown for him and everything, maybe a trophy, and it's got like a short stack on it. There's the Bomber gonna lay it down. So there you see, this is one of the downsides. Sometimes when you go, big sizing 4.5, 5x. On the contrary, it may deter some people from shoving on you, whereas if you, min raise open, sometimes you'll invite somebody to try to make a move on with a weaker hand. But I don't know. If we go back to that good old fancy word of balance, that so with the Bomber, it is just kind of it's big sizings. It's going to put max pressure, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And all right, hey, Lottie here in the house, out there in Vegas, heading home tomorrow after running as bad as possible. I saw the tweet, Lottie. That did not look good. In the that was like that's a legitimate bad beat story. There's very few of them that still exist, and Lottie found one of them, so. The Professor here shoving with the old 6-9 of diamonds, the big lick. And Phil Blue Monday asking how does it feel as he jams with ace-4 of clubs. Chance here for the Professor to bust, but and what the biz they say, live cards, bro. 9-6 of diamonds. Well, I don't see any runner happening here for the Professor. So GG, good game. Will be eliminated in 9th. and take home $400 here for cashing. And we are now going to be down to 8 players here in our 20K World Poker Tour Steps tournament. This is Step 2. This is not a satellite per se that you would think of as satellite. This is normal tournament with the added caveat that the winner advances to Step 3, which is all of our monthly main event winners competing in a 6 or potentially 5-handed event if the Bomber wins this yet again. He's already won 1 title. So think of it like this. We have 6 monthly main event tournaments, right? Each winner of that goes to Step 3. I think that makes sense. So, but if you're confused or displaced chat pro, feel free to leave us a comment or join along with the discussion. The finest in the land as graphics will load and advance and acknowledge. Boy, this is quite an acknowledgement of the professor. It took him so long to get him knocked out. It's going to take till the very end till we can get the graphics there. Here we go. We've got it. As William Lottie says he's able to bluff and limit hold'em in a horse tournament. That always just makes you feel, that adds like a legitimately like 10% swagger to your soul. It's so hard to do. So, all right, we will deal the next hand, and sometimes the hamster that powers our Wi-Fi decides that he wants to go eat, and then we got to exchange, put another one in there. We've got a good solid 3 rotation between Whiskers, Mittens, and Muffins. Now, Mittens' performance has been slacking a little bit, but, Muffins is a real go-getter. The Bomber now with a raise up here to 60K. Avinash here with pocket 4s. PS3 shakes 1, 2, 3. It sounds more like Alcoholics Anonymous than Texas Card House, a 12-step tournament. I'm going to have to review all 12 steps before I can really make a joke, but thankfully I've not had to go through the experiences. That hand a miss. How much was the entry? This was $330 plus $30 tournament fee. Or $35, excuse me. I don't want to be out here sketching the details, saying stuff that's not true. $5K, $10K. Still on this level, we've had our first elimination of the professor, and while it only took at least a good solid hour, but Phil with the Niners. And a min raise. Up to 20K. Let's see, does Vinny Tran have a hand that he can shove with or defend with? Is going to be a little bit of column A and column B, as he calls, with 10K. And Vinny Tran with bottom pair, backdoor clubs. Phil maybe trembling inside just a smidge. We'll check it back as deuce of clubs turns, gives a chance here for Vinny to bet. Is going to do the bare minimum here, 10K bet. And we have 2 chicks at the same time going on this board as check it back, and Phil will show him the winner. As we'll carry on to this magical event that we call WPT Steps 2, our monthly main on TCH Live. Mike Youngblood, the dude talking, super producer Carolyn, is always at the controls. Invite you to follow us at tch.atx on our Instagram or tch.dallas. At tch.htx from Houston and tch.rgv. So we had also the next gen poker boys heading on out there to the Houston location. So at least hope that I was able to bring out some of the fans of those boys. They seem like they are as good spirited as ever. Okay, $10 super chat from JTN 1968. A stream isn't a stream until I contribute to the TCH's medicine cabinet. Dude, you can contribute to my birthday party fund. It's going to be Wednesday. I'm not planning anything yet, but I mean, if in lieu of getting a gift, dropping a dope super chat is the one way to make my heart just a little less, black and cold. Okay, James on the button with ace deuce of hearts. Betty Chant here with king 7 of hearts. The hoodies are up. If you ain't got a hoodie, you're just behind here, folks. As the 8 deuce steel raise will get no backlash, and we'll be able to get it through. Squeezes it on in. Oh boy, people talking about the Orleans. Yeah, Vegas seems like it's booming right now, but I keep, and the more I think about it, it's like, God, if I just wanted to play poker, like, I would just stay here in Texas. But if there's, like, everything else that you want to do besides, hey, maybe there's some tournament series, blah, blah, blah. But it's nice to know that action you crave can be right here in your back door. So Thrifting Teddy. Wait, 365 entry and 9th gets 400. It was not the original payout, but it was typically what we have seen sometimes is the table agreeing to elect to pay out up to a certain amount of spots. So instead of just top 7 paying, at least left a little something if you made the final table. GK here with Queens, so all pure limping with the Jack 10 of clubs at the 10 big blind mark. Now the bomber. I will say this, there will be some punts off, but George knows when to lay it away from those spots specifically. All pure, though, thinking he may be a little bit more live than he realizes, as GK has got a real hand. He's got a couple of ladies. And he gets to be all in the middle with it. So 226K pot gives him a gutter ball. Potential backdoor clubs. Club. Nope, GK is going to stay way ahead of 9 and 9 alone. Is going to pair up at 10. So GK makes the elimination. And Chris Parks from All Pure. I don't know if he's left yet. Maybe if he did want to join back here, it would be I would welcome that, but nonetheless says GK now recovering some chips and knocking out another player. That means we're 7-handed, so this should pump the action a little bit more. The blind's getting around quicker. And as some of these short stacks will be forced to kind of make some more moves, as appreciate the super chat from our good friend JTN. Hit the like button for us in lieu of currency. You don't have to give money. You could just simply hit the like, and then, what, we'll accept that. Gary C., I entered the chat the way the lady caused the bike crash at the Tour de France. That was actually a good comment. That was, like, legitimately funny. Very self-aware. Because that is as good of a metaphor as it probably gets. Fox, yes, this is the tournament final table. We started this at 2 p.m. And we're here at the end. You start with 56, and then you end down until there is one. And there can only be one. Bomber, 9 triz. Let's do this. Leroy Hedging. Oh, he's not going to do it. George respects the stream. He will rip it in with 9 triz, but thinking about it, calculating how much future love he'll receive if he rips it in and gets it through with the 9 triz. He's going to go look for the call. Four-way action here. Avinash with the only mystery hand. Leads at this. Nobody else really has seemed to made much of this. This hand has many combustible, weird, hard to understand parts in it. That's why I think I'm underrated, because I'm helping you try to make sense of this while still simultaneously having no idea what in the hell is going on here. That is... Avinash looking away, being a little bashful, like he's put out a bet and like, oh, did I put that bet out there? But George, you have 9-3. It is okay to just... He's thinking about it. The probability of him potentially putting the raise like 10% and then now 0. That's all right. 420 viewers. Nice. Again, this is our WPT Steps 2 monthly main event, a 20K guarantee single re-entry event with the winner no, I'm sorry, something very loud echoed in my ear. So again, the WPT Steps 3 semi-annual event will happen once we have 6 monthly main event winners, or potentially 5. There's still the door open for somebody to repeat. Ricardo almost had the chance. The Bombers had and I think he's been on the final table in this each time. Literally every month, I think he's been on here. I can't remember the first, but George likes his chicken spicy. That's... James now with the 24K raise with blind 6K, 12K. The Bomber here taking us all through the moments of time. Thinking about shoving. Thinking about grabbing smoke. Thinking about calling. All right, Gil Garza just joined, watching from San Antonio. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. That's your chatrionic duty to smash on that like button. That's the summer of George, says Nick from Yuma. It has been the year of George. Call to 12K, and we did not see if we get the big blind to also carry on, as James throws down a C-bet on the 10-high board. So gutter ball for Phil, out of position of the big blind. James, the under the gun +1 min raiser, which is going to draw a call now from Phil. So 9 is going to make him double gutted here to an 8 or a 4. James still here with top pair with a 10, but take a freebie. Here we go to the riv. It is going to be an 8, so 7-5 gets there. William Smith tuning in at Beeville, Texas, enjoying the show. Hell yes. As Phil puts out a bet, we'll see if James elects to call. No flushes, so it's the only real candidate I think of the hands would be like 4-5 or I mean like 10-9 if you were getting a call from 10-8, 10-7, 10-6, 10 I mean maybe like 10-5 would be of the candidates that maybe 6-5 or 4-5 or you know some kind of 3. There's not a ton of combos, but after checking the turn, he realizes that potentially Phil could do this with any number of hands that he maybe feels might be better. So a tough one there, but nonetheless, Phil is going to pick up the pot. You guys have any questions, comments? Again, join along in the chat. This is our 20K monthly main event here at Texas Card House. If you're looking for other tournaments that we run here through the week, we've got our Tuesday Step 1 weekly tournament. That is a 2K guarantee freeze out. Starts at 4 p.m. Monthly, or excuse me, a Wednesday 7 p.m. free roll. A Friday PLO free roll that starts at 7 o'clock, and Saturdays 3K guaranteed at first place, $100 single entry or add-on. You only get one or the other. And that's been getting a pretty nice turnout on Saturdays. So Devin M. tuning in from East Houston. What's going on? The HTX. Go be somebody. Okay, that is James here now under the gun with ace queen. Gary C. with a not too surprising fact. Well, I'm bald, so I cut my own hair. I'm starting to conjure up a mental image here, and it's getting a bit stranger. Okay, we've got James opening min raise on the 6K 12K. Avinash with ace 9. We'll like to call for 24K. Casey is saying we need to get the quarterly 1K tournaments back soon. Yeah, I agree. I would invite that to be part of the mix. I think that would draw us out some more players that want to play just a little bit bigger in these. Ace Queen, Ace 8, Ace 9, top pair, the old TP, TK, the most unbeatable hand in poker, clearly. And we'll go ahead and lead on it, and I don't think he'll get much resistance from anybody as be a little recovery from the last hand. There's a hand there for James. And TJ Post, was this tournament on your website? Yes, it should be. If you check out our website, texascardhouse.com, and click on the location closest to you or of interest to you, Austin, Houston, Rio Grande Valley, or Dallas, and get a full-on calendar of what the heck is going on. So typically on Sunday, here at Texas Card House is a 7K guaranteed freeze-out. But on the last Sunday of every month in our WPT Step Series, it is the 20K single reentry. GK him with ace-8 off, first act, and a big stack, and we'll use it wisely as a small raise to 24K. James now here with Jack says, decided does he want to make this big pot, rip it, put on a, I can't imagine a sizing that he loves going into the chip leader out of position. That's probably not just a rip, but GK, if the bet is small enough back to him, may consider trying to go post with this, but I feel like whatever bet that James may be deciding here that's under all in is going to provoke a fold, but he'll put in at least 100K here in the spot. So the decision back here to GK, 88K more to call. I would probably expect he'll fold here. I just generally represents a fair amount of strength here. That it's not, there's not enough in the pot to try to incentivize a steal, unless your opponent feels like they have a read on you that you know that you could have absolute trash in the spot. But GK is going to weigh his options and we'll click the fold button as people talking about Trae Young here in the chat. I mean, I was definitely not a Trae Young fan at first, but you know, you can't really deny what he's done and the kind of transformation that he has made, which I think even if you were a doubter, you could have still seen some path where like he was going to be able to get better, but I expected it to maybe be like 2 years down the road or 3 years down the road that, you know, after running into walls sometimes some players find improvement. He just, you know, got a new coach and was started listening to him and actually did the things that people were kind of criticizing him for not doing, which was passing, making good plays, playing a little bit more defense. So I am out on the hate Trae Young camp, but I still don't like some of the jabroni fouls. Still bothers me. So next hand here of our tournament final table, 20K guaranteed monthly main event. As Earl Soling, oh joy, a satellite tourney stream. Exciting, says the guy who doesn't understand this format. It is not a satellite. I will repeat this again. This is not a satellite. This is a normal tournament with the extra caveat as the WPT Step Series has a fun wrinkle in it called Step 3, which is a 6-handed sit and go of all of our monthly main event winners. So it's a regular tournament just like it would be any other time on Sunday, but goes to an even bigger event, which will lead to an even bigger event. So it's still a tournament. As James has got kings, the Bombers got nines. This could be proved to be a tough fold here for the Bomber. James has got him covered, but with the sizing up here to 62 and the pushback, you can assume James can have any number of hands that he might think that he'd be flipping with. And that's it. So 129K, stand up, and this always helps the brain work a little bit. Boy, Bones asking about the player mics on the Monday stream. I think it's tougher with two people to do it. I think if you have one commentator and you could do the crowd mics or the player mics, I think it's a way easier balance to be able to strike. So the Bomber now gonna, well, I think have a legit reason to tank here as and I'm not sure. I mean, even if you try to guess James' hand, just cover up James's hand at this moment. Forget that you know that he has pocket kings. Somebody comes with that shove up over it. And then trying to feel it out. So Bomber has put nearly a third of his stack in. He may decide this is the hill to stand on. We got some NBA chatters coming in here. Nick from Youngblood is the mailman of YouTube. He even delivers on Sundays. To catch up with some of this more of a chatter. It is. Okay, so I figured it'd be much more different than live. I figured it, okay. So Bomber's going to call. Kings versus nines. He's reached his decision and going to have to find a 9 in here. Or he will be our next elimination as King's still good and ace here on the turn. And is there going to be a 9? That is so gross. Bomber spikes a 9 on the end. And now up to 406K. And does the Richard Nixon pose in the process. And in this spot, he is a crook because 9's got there on the river against Kings. And James, his face could probably be a meme right now. That is the feeling of watching a big pot get away from you on the very last card. As the Bronstein Bomber here with the winner. Now going to be at 406K as the chat going crazy. Some big Bomber fans here too as surprised nobody's accused us of being rigged yet. Yep, live poker is rigged, right? Hate to see it. It's been Funkhauser. I thought it was going to be Funkhauser, the greatest character on Curb Your Enthusiasm, clearly ever. Rest in peace, Marty Funkhauser. But Funkhauser, okay. Danny Ruse, I feel bad for James. Yeah, I think we all feel a little bit of pain inside. And we've all been there, too. Poker sometimes makes you want to destroy things, punch holes in walls. And if you're a guy named Kyle and you have some Monster Energy drink, you're almost halfway there. Gary C. saying rigged, audit. You know what? Actually, there is a clause in here that will allow the professor to get reinstated into this tournament. As all right, James is shoved with ace 5 suited into the chip leader. And GK may just call. It's just like, I'll just call with any two, and we'll flip them up, all spades. There's a deuce pair, so it does still give some hope to James, and unfortunately has been eliminated as a tough way to finish, and we'll go on to queen deuce. And you have tip back a drink. GG, James. We all know you probably deserved a little better run good, but we'll go out in 7th. Yeah, we've all been there. There are many, even the chat pros could recognize that was a pretty sick one. So, Gil saying I threw up in my mouth a little bit. Lottie, that hand is how my whole month has gone. We love you, Lottie. That is really got to put in some time working on my Lottie impression. Just it needs a little seasoning, but it's almost there. Okay. Mossman, 350. What's the buy-in on this? How the hell can y'all say that this is rigged? That's so idiotic. That's the whole point. That we're not seriously saying it's rigged. It's what they call in the streets a joke. Sometimes they'll do it just for fun. Rick Ronstein, ho, hum, easy game. Hell yes. Sometimes all you got to do is hit a 9 there, sir. PS3 shakes 1, 2, 3, giving really good life advice right now. When punching anger holes in sheetrock, beware hitting studs, though. King 8 versus King 8. Who has less fear? Neither has the 8 of spades, so Steamdola doesn't care. So Manifold does. Fox, how could I apply to be a dealer at TCH? From chat pro to dealer, my favorite kind of worker. Go to texascardhouse.com, go to our Austin section, and there's a column there for jobs. And if you think you've got what it takes to join the elite team, you know, there you go. Greg Willoughby, is that the bartender from The Simpsons commentating? I've never been compared to Mo Sislak. Here I am, Uncle Mo. Eat your fries. Ace Jack shove here by Tim. He's not had a, I mean, he's laddered up a little bit. Has pretty much played a razor fold, an occasional limp here and there. And has kind of just snuck by all of us with everybody paying attention to the bomber. Casey with a fantastic comic, gonna go be productive. Good luck with that. I try that route often. Have a good one, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. 69 likes, almost 420 people watching. That was really only my goal here for the evening. I think I could just head out now. We've accomplished everything we could have ever asked for. Okay, Vinny Tran here, the short stack with 4 big blinds. Tim Navanesh, the only other players under 20. So maybe a little bit of time. Get yourself a caffeinated beverage. If you're out there on the West Coast, you're sitting there pretty. It's
I'm looking for you for facial expressions on what I should be doing.
Bomber here with pocket fives.
You're going to get a lot of blank stares then. I mean, he's listening to Carolina.
Raise up here to 41K.
George, you want it? Sorry.
And the button raise is going to work out. So, all right, we're going to tag in here. SIP producer Carolyn stepping out. We got junior producer Seth. You look like you just got back from a Mountaineers game, man. The pride of West Virginia. Yes. The good old cat. Okay, so Benny Stone, TCH rocks. Hell yeah, I would just love it if every single comment was that. It's very easy. Vinny Tran has shoved all in blind, it appears. He does not appear to have looked at his cards. He doesn't know it, but he's got 8 deuce. GK has called him with the ace-5 of clubs, and Avinash could tag along on this imposition on the button. Yep, he is going to make the call, so see if anybody out of the blinds wakes up with a hand either. A chance maybe for Vinny Tran if he gets lucky to triple up here as... Yep, no hands out of the bunch, and we'll start a side pot now between GK and Avinash, who's got 175K, stack to pot ratio of 1. So anticipate if GK gets any part of this board, he will be proactive. But the aim is to knock out a player. And what a spicy board there. Top pair for Avinash. It does have the jack of clubs in his hand, which he's going to call as GK rips it for ace-5. Vinny Tran has got to hit backdoor hearts or running 8 deuce. Or ace busto. And Avinash could be out the door here if an ace comes or a club. It's a club. That should do it for both of these players. As GK taking a 530K pot, now sitting at 1.1 million in tournament chips. Well, the chat looking to see the field thinned a bit, and GK delivering a powerful right hand with a strong left-handed uppercut to follow as Bronstein Bomber, I believe, second in chips, but we are now 4-handed at this point. And Tim on the short stack side of things, and Phil and George kind of stuck in between with GK at the front of the race. Tim with 8 big blinds again. 6K, 12K, so it's not the immediate rush. Vinny Tran and Avinash have been eliminated. So good game, good game. I mean, that tough spot to be in for Vinny. And Avinash was kind of hanging around for a while, played some hands. It's the bare minimum of a recap, as I can recall, as trying to remember the ones. He had one hand where he got pushed off of that GK made 2 pair that took a pretty decent chunk out, and then got those bomber, committed the top pair on a king high board, and the run up, he just couldn't fade. So Phil min raising on the button to 24K, GK running as hot as the sun. Playing pretty good too, no disrespect. It's okay. Mozman 350. Brad got me turned on to y'all. First live stream I've watched. This tournament started with a bunch of people. Yeah, it started with like 56 players or 56 total entries. So middle pair here by Phil. GK here with a king high diamond draw. Yeah, if you're new to tournament poker, you start with a bunch of people and you go down until there's one. There can only be one. So Gil Garza with the horny comment of the night. She put some eye candy in that empty chair. You're just trying to imply that I should be going out there, bro? Okay. A bet of 80 here by GK. $80K now here for Phil to call, and still not a believer yet. Okay, never to check that. So it was check, bet, call, Phil bet, GK called out of position, and then once the 10 turns, GK decides to lead at it, and Phil going to call the 80, and now the backdoor hearts comes in. So it can be a little bit more believable, I think, if GK continues on this, but after getting looked up on the turn, leaves himself a potential door that, say, if Jack 8 or Queen Jack or... And Phil's going to shove all in. I can't necessarily assert if this is A, for value, or turning his hand into a bluff, which... GK may be thinking about if there's a bet small enough, maybe I can call it with king high in some spots if he really thinks his opponent has, like, queen jack, jack 8, 7 8. Like, and it's not a jack 7, maybe in some really, but yeah, I would, again, those are the very most ambitious hands that could potentially be there in that spot. So, Nick, I don't get this all in. Yeah, I mean, I think as we've seen in the cash trade so many times that you just get to this point, you're just like glad to get the check down. I don't find it to be a bad one per se. It is just a little bit on the confusing side. I guess if he could really think that GK maybe would have been on a 10, but I don't think that would explain why he would make the call necessarily on the turn. So, like, if you believed he had a 10, you'd most likely muck the hand. And if you now believe that he didn't have a 10, then maybe you think there's another pair that potentially under 10s or you know, there's 7s, 8s, 6s, maybe some ace highs. He could maybe try to be value betting ace high, but I digress. Says Fox, all right, I applied as a dealer. Good, we could use help always. Appreciate you guys tuning in late into the evening hours. Sunday. Mike Young with the Dude Talk. You can follow at Hoops Mike on Instagram and Twitter. Nick from UMS says Fox put me as a reference. Hell yes. Queen on the turn as pairs up the bomber, pulls way ahead of both of these hands. I guess maybe I could just, I found out now I can link things in the chat because I have a wrench next to my name. So why don't I just link you to my stuff so you can just follow the link, bro. Does GK maybe deciding he will take a chance on this? Said it's gone through 2 streets, perhaps nobody has anything and I could just go ahead and take it down. Certainly worth a try as it's the bomber thinking about bluff catching here with the queen as Probably figures if he would have seen more action from GK if he was repping diamonds on the previous street. So, like, unless he truly fears a king or fears maybe Phil has a king behind him, he's going to take him through the process. Ugh, politics, Doc. Ban him. Yeah, Gary. You know the... Delete that. Nate the Great Vasquez tuning in. What's up, baby? Howdy, howdy, fellas. What's going on? Nate the Great's been on our stream a few times. The Bomber. Now thinking about it, he is going to make the fold, and I assume Phil will follow us. Astro Donut, are you able to check your IG DMs while you're in the box? Well, while I'm broadcasting here, yeah, I'm not. I mean, we turn everything away, so I can't see the other side where all the technical stuff happens. So, plus, I have decency and respect, and just All right, so Phil folds, GK wins it on the bluff on the end as we make it the four-handed. Nate the Great says, my girlfriend says hi, too. People maybe trying to set up some potential residency for somebody coming here from El Paso. Gary K, my boy from the Hawkeye State. What's going on, sir? Welcome on into the chat. Hit the like button for us. Click subscribe. Sitting over at 23,500 subs and growing at a rate unforeseen by anyone. Okay. Ace 3 shove by Tim. Foldy. Over to Phil. And Phil says, I cannot call with Queen 6, even with it being 8K and 16K. Mark Wisdom, so many people would pass out standing up, locking knees out. Yeah, that would be an interesting dynamic for the tournament. Like, if it was like you had to stand for the duration of the final table or during it. If you were able to elevate the table and could like lean on it, like I think that would actually be badass. But if it's like when you're standing and the table is lower, like that sucks. Like then you can't really, you got to bend over unless you're like, you have an NBA length wingspan and could just, reach and. Hey, our boy Bert here in the chat, Super Floyd Bert. We forgive you. That's not a that was no big deal because I politely had to decline because it was stuff with sugar in it and I just can't do it. A7 here, GK, good as 10 with no hand to defend with. Uh-oh, got an Instagram DM. I hope it's not a D pick. All right, 8K, 16K. Apparently, Nick from Yuma called our front desk and requested that shots be delivered here to the back. And that's Bert saying, Mike, let's get some thumbs up for the channel. I agree, Bert. I'm out here trying to pedal and beg for likes and just, help pump out the good word of Texas Card House in Austin. So if you want to be united in that mission, alert the chat pros, alert your mom. Tell anybody you know that might be. Just scream it right out the window. TCH Live is on. Your prayers have been answered as GK will fold the 10-2 suited. All right, Jake Springer, is this the final table? Yes. Oh boy. 8K, 16K? Okay, cool. I got DM'd a picture and it wasn't absurd, so. Well, it looks pretty decent, Astro Donut. I don't know enough about Lexo, but that seems alright. Next hand. 8-5 of clubs here for Phil. Tim with a shove. That's pretty much the only move that has been in his arsenal that's been available to him is going to make the shove for 95K. John Schwartzbauer. Man, I want to play some 2-5. Heck yes. Get yourself a seat in our 2-5 game here in Austin. If you are a player that's actually interested in playing on our cash stream, again, if you read the crawl along the bottom line of your screen or text 512-843-1971, email TCH live list at texascardhouse.com. You want to play on stream? That is the process to begin, or otherwise, you want to play in our main room here, TCH. Heck yes, TCH Dallas. That room's been filled. Houston on the rise, Rio Grande Valley on the rise. We're doing pretty good. Let's move on to the next hand, folks, where Tim's got another shoving hand. GK's got a real hand, though. He's got ace queen four-handed, which is absolutely good to call, and Tim's going to need a little bit of help. The GK with an advantage, not by like a huge margin, but still way good here in this spot, and we'll get our board as, okay, 4-3-3, so no draws for Tim. It's got to be a jack or a 10 only, and that hand has turned to dust. Good game. GG. Tim hung around as long as he can. Really never had a stack the entire way and was able to ladder his way up to fourth in this. And yeah, that's all you can really do. And they got a great return here as we'll come on in, but if he's got to step out of town or is traveling or any of that kind of stuff. But, stream bluffering. Okay. Was for me for a second, too. Now it's fine. So that's good. Okay, I apparently missed out on some things here in the chat. Almost to 100 likes. Yes, 98. I know we can do way better. Got to pump those rookie numbers up. God, I did not bring my charger here. I'm very disappointed, or else I could give you the McConaughey. Got to pump those. You got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers here in this racket. Okay, all in here by Phil. The bomber trying to go for the button steal with the old Jack 9 off, and Phil here with Ace King, able to push it through. Dez. Mons, man, I almost thought I was getting kicked for calling out the likes. No, man. I mean, it's a pretty good crowd for us on the Sunday tournament final table. Typically 350 to 400 or so late in the Sunday hours. Gary K, Mike, any plans for the 4th of July weekend? Well, I'll tell you what, I got my birthday Wednesday. And then I'm taking off. I'm just off until the 5th. So I will find a way to cause some kind of mayhem, I think. But it's going to be the first time I've taken, like, extended, just like, hey, don't fucking bother me for a while. Then, so I'm looking forward to that. That is celebrate my birth and the birth of America all this week. maybe that's why I've got a little more pep in my step. As GK raising out of the small blind with King 4 suited the bomber, choosing to potentially go. Okay, he's okay. I thought he might have been thinking about coming over the top and. Oh, GTN, I'm sorry I missed your question. I saw that earlier. Will there be a stream on the 4th? I would assume not. I don't know if we will be having it. I would not think we're... No tournament. We're not... No. Hell no. If there is, I am not going to be here. You'll be listening to an empty chair and a producer that's not here. William Lottie, thank you, man. Enjoy the well-deserved time. I'm just, it may only be like 5 days, 6 days, but I'm just kind of find a way to rejuvenate my spirit and soul. I've got another little project that I'm working on that's really exciting, but it's not it's don't pay any thought to it. So, okay. Dude, Gary K, I'll spend the week at Okoboji. Go there every weekend. Yeah, Bochi's like the only legit like good place to go in Iowa where like people seem to like legitimately look forward to going to. That actually sounds fun. Hell, I would love to go to Okoboji, but actually, I think my girlfriend's going to be out of town, so I am watching dogs. So I'll be spending it with dogs, trying to make sure that they are not, they're not freaked out by fireworks. My little dude's pretty good. He's not too worked up about it, but. All right, 9-7 of diamonds. It is the bomber with the shove, 273K. And a quick fold by Phil. Okay, yeah, we are not doing a 4th of July. No, thank you. That is probably the time to sit back and enjoy a fine beverage, blow something up that's not yourself, and have yourself a good old-fashioned American Day. Watch Independence Day. What you just... Yeah, how about you in the chat? You tell us your 4th of July plans, and we'll see who's got the best plan. Which of the chat pros is the coolest? We'll just solve it right now. Gary K is going to Okoboji, which is right now the chip leader. Here we go. 3-handed is... That's not nice, Sam. The bomber is a fine player. All right, got a raise here by GK. Nick from Yuma says, I'm lighting sparklers with Gary C. Snakes and sparklers, man. You mean every time like this comes around the 4th of July year, I'm just thinking about that Joe Dirt quote. It's like, you don't have any Husker do's, Husker don'ts, sippity doot, just going through the list of every potential firework you can think of. Okay, next hand. Michael Tilden launching around a pool. It's a fantastic idea. The end of Brady watching all the way from Thailand. Going to be in Vegas soon. Yeehaw. Being baked. Well, hold on. Phil's got a hand here. Is going to put an raise on the button. It looks like a min raise up to 32K. GK with a callable hand, of course. I don't really care about fireworks. I think they're kind of like that. That's never been a spectacle for me. I've never watched it going like, wow, that was really exciting. Maybe when I was like 10. Every year after that, it's kind of like, okay, well, that was kind of nice. Got any things that go boom? Which could be this pot here between GK and Phil. Ace high versus Queen 10 of clubs. And what a flop here. Top pair for GK. Pair and a flush draw for Phil. All right, GK here with a shove. I'm just laughing at the chat. That's why I love you guys. All right, here we go. Oh my God, here we got a big pot, 914K that will decide a big swing in the tournament. Got to be a heart, 8, or ace. It's an ace. Phil with a massive double up, and GK had turn 2 pair, but Phil still had hope to a heart, 8, or ace as long as it was not a queen of hearts. And GK starting to wonder if this is indeed Tony Phil, and this is Groundhog Day. He had a huge stack on Alex and watched the comeback, and now sees a big chunk taken out of his armor as a big winner here for Phil, who's been kind of in the middle position here for chip stacks, and now it becomes pretty much anybody's game at this point. Yeah, you can't blame Phil for getting his hand in that spot. So Phil is now the chip leader. All right, back here to the chat where we're talking about fireworks and how I wasn't impressed. There was somebody here, Mozman, in Illinois, a little town, used to choreograph music to the fireworks. That was sweet. Yeah, if you have like a whole display like that, that's kind of cool, but because I live in small town Iowa, so it was sort of like you just go to it because it was the only thing else to do. But okay. Baking baked. I wanted to get to it, but I wanted a moment where I could do it in a funny voice. Oh, right. Baking baked. I will smoke a joint and then wake up, go to sleep, wake up, some more weed, and more online action. That sounds like a lot of our chat bros. Sergio Lennon, you're going to stand there owning a fireworks stand and say you have no whistling bunghole, spleen splitters, whisker biscuits.
Shit, we're gonna meet in the parking lot? No.
I didn't used to care, and then once I got a dog, I became one of those people that's just like, don't scare the dogs. Because if you're like a non-person, like it's not a thought that enters your brain, they're just like, things go boom. So that was kind of a problem with my last roommate. I know I'm getting really personal here on the tournament final table, but LeBron Steenbomber here with a shove of the old 7 high. And will not get called here by Phil. The hands played themselves out, says Nick from Yuma. I agree. That is. Just no other way to slice it. I mean, maybe potentially GK could have just called there, but it is, maybe on the turn he'll create a bet size that is going to get his opponent out of it. But if you take that path, it's just the way she goes, as the guy from Trailer Park Boy said. What was it? The guy in the wheelchair and the man in the chair. That's the way she goes. Okay, the bomber here with a raise on the button, and 7 deuce will not defend. Let's go figure. Yeah, so we've had our submissions here for what you're going to do on 4th of July. Hillbilly says he's going to roast some corn. That's right now. Gary K's got the best plans. He's going to Okoboji, Iowa. Right now, I've only outside of lighting sparklers with Gary C. I've not really gotten any good submissions here. Ricky's dad, yeah, that's right, Fox. I was like, God, what is his name, Ricky? All right, we got GK with a raise up here to 40K. The bomber with ace queen. So I think that is going right in the middle. Shoving it in is George. George. Watch out for that tree. Okay. Sam ready. King 10 better all in than 7-5 offsuit. All in. Well, I mean, it's all relative three-handed. Sometimes you're not shoving out of the idea of wanting to be called. Hillbilly asking what is Okobochi. It is a really awesome lake out in northwest Iowa. Theme park, like it's a really nice area that people generally like to travel to. So I mean, there's just so a shortage of like legitimately entertaining places to go. So. Shove here by the bomber with pocket fives, filled with king high. Just not going to call half his stack for it, though. Says you can go ahead and take that, Phil, or take that, George. And I expect we'll see a lot of this. So there may be hands that we don't go to flop, probably pretty often. So prepare yourselves. Yeah, I mean, 4th of July last year was not really a thing. We were still kind of right in the pandemic or starting to kind of come out of it a little bit. But this is setting all the makings of a really gung-ho attitude of that was kind of the goal. That was the goal here by 4th of July, that normalcy will be achieved. All right, Bronstein Bomber shoving here with ace 5. GK with no hand and boats and hoes, boats and pros. That was another one, Nick, that I was thinking about adding to the soundboard, which unfortunately I forgot my charger to my laptop. So there's probably a few people out there with a sigh of relief the soundboard has not been fired up, but we will not make that rookie mistake again. So 111 likes. Got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket. Okay, that's a terrible impression, but Chad Blackwood, the bum should just chop it. The bum's lost. Actually, with this format, there has to be a winner. There has to be a winner to go on to step 3, and the Bronstein Bomber could potentially be a 2-time monthly event winner, which would set up to him, I think, essentially having a bigger stack at the Step 3 semi-annual event. Then it would be 5-handed, which would be... Yeah, that's right, Ryan. He already won a Step 3 seat, so I don't know if this is... if I recall correctly, but... it's kind of one of those things deep in the rule book sometimes you have to go into. Bert saying this it was actually the second month because it was Ricardo first, George second, and then Esther. All right, we have gone to the 9-4-10 board, and we're waiting at... these are sometimes moments here where we load up our internet, we replace the hamster, again, mittens, muffins, and whiskers. So I think this whiskers shift that powers the little wheel here that really gives that Wi-Fi the extra juice, but once he gets tired, then we got to sub in the next one. So whiskers take a seat, muffins coming in. All right, over here to 3 on the end, a 3 of spades. King 8 high is going to be the best if we go to showdown. So the Bomber here going to take down a small pot here on TCH Live. So again, Monday's 5:10 game tomorrow night should be as awesome as always, and the bar keeps getting raised each and every week. What insane, crazy, ridiculous thing's going to happen now? And we will see if that happens yet again on the Monday edition. Tuesday and Wednesdays and TCH Dallas have been doing well. People really enjoying the show. And then we bring it back Thursday with Aaron McAvoy and our 2-5 game here in Austin. Tournament final tables on Saturday and Sunday. That tournament up in Dallas on Saturday just keeps putting up massive prize pools. So, we keep pumping out the hits here for you guys. We appreciate you enjoying our content. Make sure to hit subscribe. And yet again, folks, I feel like Bernie Sanders in that meme. I'm here again to ask you to hit that. That's a terrible impression, but I'm here again to ask you to hit that like button. So. Bruce Vogler, hillbilly in my hometown, it's illegal to walk down Main Street with an ice cream cone in your back pocket. There's like a whole segment of like old radio that used to deal with kooky, like local municipality rules that don't make any sense. Like you can't marry your sister. No, okay, that one's not. You can't wear a coat on the street and a blah blah blah. Like just some crazy city council in 1940 just decided to go off the rails and put in these odd ordinances, and people forget they exist, and or like that's ridiculous. We're not going to honor this. So okay, so we seem to have some discussion here between the Bomber and Phil. Well, we're going to just get a walk, and George will step away here momentarily. So, all right, what do we got? Spencer Ingmanson, I can't marry myself. I don't think you can legally. We'll have to ask Hillbilly. He's out there in Alabama. He's probably the legal expert here in the chat. Bruce Vogler, some town in California, it is illegal to yell at butterflies. Some authoritarian hippie putting down that rule. Don't yell at the butterflies. They're just blooming. They're doing the best they can. All right, dealer change. That does not mean we will have a bomb pop, but we will have Sal. And he puts his insignia with the S out there in the middle. What a baller move. That's like a trademark, practically. So 8K, 16K, 16K, big blind any, half-hour levels. Vulture. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I think I know you've chatted here before. But I was thinking like Mark Bulch. Okay, then that still wouldn't make sense. Nick Rima, the best punt of waking up is steamdola in your cup. All right. Summer right now, I'm pretty sure Steamdola took another shot of espresso. Powering through the evening hours. Fox, what are the chip values? Excellent question. 1,000 for the Yellers, the 5K for the Pinks, and the 25K for the Orange. Yeah, the Orange are at 25K, the Yeller 1K, and the Pink are 5. Let's glad to hear Steamdola back here in the booth there with the AA Ron. That was pretty cool. It's been a busy man as of late, especially those that work retail. Anyway, I think it's all the other things that have been going on here at TCH. would be remiss not to share with you some of the fine things that we've had going on. Again, it is Member Appreciation Day every Tuesday, all summer long, $6 per hour for the cash games here at TCH. Every Tuesday, in the words of Kid Rock, all summer long. If you want to know everything that's happening at your local Texas Card House, visit texascardhouse.com. Raised up now by Phil. All right, Phil. Okay, so I followed Phil Monday KW. He's a realtor. Looks like he's good with the hockey stick. Just checking out his Instagram. And you know what? Phil seems like a pretty good guy. So if you've got realty needs, do I feel like everybody I know is a realtor now? That's literally, I think it's like, but okay. Before this conversation divulges, Logan Taylor, where are all the TCH locations and are there plans for more? Nick from Yuma responding, TCH Kazakhstan. Yeah, you know, that's there's probably going to be some diplomatic issues getting in there, but I'm sure we could field enough tables there in Kazakhstan. This is the greatest country in the world. So we got a shove by the bomber. Very nice. As Phil folds the ace-3. Yeah, I can't speak to any future plans of locations. I hear things, but being in this position is probably not in the, you know, I'm not in the news business. I am here in the opinion, commentary, analysis, entertainment. I'm sure TCH explores a lot of different options of things that maybe could work in other places, but to my knowledge, I don't know anything just yet. So, okay, there's a walk by GK. Jake Springer, was this just a one-table tournament, or how many tables were in this tournament? We ran like 5 or 6. Had about like 56 players, or 56 total entries into this. William, you need a TCH and Corpus. That would be kind of. I don't know what the Corpus scene seems like. We've had a couple of people I've known that have come up here from there, but Joseph Down, TCH your mom, TCH Hell, run super hot. You know, you guys used to have some really good ones for me here in the chat as well. The bomber is going to falter. It was GK that shoved and the bomber electing not to call with the Queen Jack while I was rambling away at the chat. If you're still with us here in the evening hours, bless your heart. Thank you so much for tuning in. Mike Youngblood, super producer Carolyn at the controls. Brief cameo by junior producer Seth, the pride of West Virginia. So here in the house. So GK with 6-3 offsuit.
Lay down, guys. Picked up a monster.
They will move on to the next hand. It is what, like 12:20 in the evening hours. This is poker hours, so this is all that we're used to anyway. So this is just a natural state of being that's very normal here at the crack of 12:30 a.m. Join us here in the chat. Keep banging away that like button if you've not done so yet. I know if you're watching on the TV, it might be kind of confusing. How do I do it? You just go to the 3 circles when you curse on over with your arrow thing, and then you should see like what looks like a mitten with a thumbs up. And then you just hit that thumbs up button, and then Bob's your uncle. The bomber with the race up here to ace 10. GK with trash in the big blind is not going to call. So, John Chatham, time to chop this up 3 ways. Well, we've got to have a winner. No matter what happens, we've got to have a winner. Because that winner goes to step 3, the semi-annual event. A 6-handed collection of all the monthly main event winners as of late. GK here with King Jack. And a fooled by everybody and the blinds. So I have would be remiss to not also remind you as well that with the payouts being what they are, it's actually, I don't know if we change that again to it's, I think they flattened it out just a smidge with third place getting like 3,000. All right, well, Eugene Green bacon wraps, stuffed jalapenos for the win. Yes, my man, that is actually has been one of my favorite things to eat. They get them at HEB here. They put cream cheese around, bacon wrapped. Oh my God, those things are so good. They have like my favorite thing to eat as of late. Okay, Jesus is our friend is going straight to hell. Goodbye. The humanity. Okay, well, in that hand, though, GK, those going for the old standard raise, and Phil has grabbed a hold of the chip lead and has not really gotten tangled in much of anything. It's been a lot of just big open shoves on the button. We've really not seen a ton of flops. So maybe the bomber strategy of just playing big pot poker at this stage will pay off. 10K, 20K. He's got more than 20 bigs. So Captain is going to make a raise up. GK here with a 9-6. And a fold. John Chatham just playing bingo now. Who's the lucky one? No, it becomes much more of bingo when you are 15 big blinds or less, 10 big blinds or less collectively. All these players still relatively deep that you can make a mistake post flop and like you still have ample room to go all 3 streets. But stack depths get a little bit thinner the deeper you go. Stephen Menner, what is the latest time a tournament has ever finished? Well, that I know the answer. That was the Berkey tournament, the Solve for Y weekend, where I know we at least went past 3 a.m. It might have been until like 4 in the morning that tournament because we had such a big player pool and that was such a bummer because Berkey came on to do commentary and it was just like so late in the evening that nobody really got to see it. But it was a pretty good tournament. I think Neighbors was there. It was like Bones was in it. Uncle Sam, Carnival Sam, the one guy. You know, the guy with the face and the thing, and he does the... Okay. King 7, call, and defend, or out of the small blind here for GK. And here on the turn, as we do not know what Phil Monday, I'm assuming of Keller Williams Realty. If you thought his play has been solid and sturdy, let him navigate this complicated housing market. And that kind of reliability can be put to use. Don't know what he has here, though. Not sure why GK is. GK maybe thinking King High could be good against a lot of 7-6s, Jack 10s. You know, 10-7s, suited a little hard draw. I mean, this I'm a little surprised by. It's going to be good, though. It doesn't even matter. I'm a moron. GK going all the way with King 7 and it being good is an absolute shocker. Good read there by GK. Where do these people come from here that come into our chat? As we bring on the next hand. What a hand by GK, and he may recapture the chip lead after that hand into 10-20K. He's in the driver's seat right now. Ton of yellows. So the 1Ks and ace 6 of diamonds. Oh, Phil here with ace 9. And let's see our flop here, Sal. Wow, Eugene Green with a cheap shot at Utah Jazz fans. Saying a lot of Jazz fans in the chat here tonight. That's actually a great joke. They have been known to not be totally awesome at Utah in regards to things of people of color. So that's a good joke. Bones would have loved that joke if he was here. But we're going to get a float here by Phil with ace high, the better ace. Checky, a lot of room for a chop here, and that's what we get. You get a chop. Howard Johnson, the owner of Howard Johnson Hotels, wish the graphics actually work. Man, you got a lot of time in there. I kid. Sometimes we will get a brief freeze, or sometimes the player will not scan their card sufficiently. Stephen Menner, how often are chips colored up in a tournament like this one? I believe we will usually do 3 different periods of color up. So after the first break is typically when we do the race-offs with like 100s. So we're trying to get the black 100 chips off the table. We'll color them up to the 500s. And then you get to a point where you color up the 500 chips up into the thousands. And then you get to the point where we get to the stack depths where you color up the yellows to the pinks and the brown oranges. We do have the 100K navy blue that show up every once in a while, but we haven't had to use them. 8-10 is going to turn trip 10s here for Phil. People angry at the NBA, went political. They really haven't done much of that this year. It's been way less about that. I don't know why. I mean, I think I have one reason why, but All right, 10s and 8s still good here for GK, but it has been way, way less pronounced on that side of things, of social awareness and those kind of things. So I know people are still bitter, but you gotta get over it. All right, trip 10s here for Phil. Is going to go for max value here, just a shade under pot, the bet of 100K. Lottie with the technical definition here, the color ups. Color ups are done when a denomination no longer needed based on the blinds. So, all right, wow. Phil taking some of those chips right back. GK making an excellent call down with king high in the previous hand. And then Phil turning trip 10s with GK flopping a second pair and is able to get it right back. So that's it. Great value bet there. John Chatham suggesting they shove it all. I mean, maybe there are some times you can go super polar there. I would have to think GK may have folded if he tried to rip, but Brother Tone looks like the bomber just wants to play heads up, not trying to get any hands. No, I mean, he's raised a ton of hands in position, but I can't necessarily say for sure if he's defended a ton. I don't feel like he has, but that does not necessarily mean he's only interested in playing heads up. So, but there is also that dynamic too. Once you get to three-handed play, that if you're the third wheel here and you've got two players happy enough to, keep going toe-to-toe with each other, they're like that. You're sitting in a wonderful position because you just feel like one of those is going to bust the other, or at least take enough chips off of that can use to potentially leverage into future situations. So Gary C, this thing's still going? Damn straight it is, son. That's all right, Brother Tone. It's okay. We've got a shove, though, by Phil. GK 3-bet out of the small blind with king 9 of clubs. And it then gets shoved on. We don't know what Phil has. I don't know if it's a card issue or just maybe the way he's scanning. Sometimes if you put the cards like right on top of each other, they don't necessarily scan, whereas Phantom just enough and run it across. If you have a card that's being finicky, maybe a sensor, who knows, but Gary C with a bad Hawks and 6 take. Brother, I really like the Atlanta Hawks. I think they're good, but Milwaukee's just better. They're just more ready for this moment. And that's not to take away from anything from Atlanta. They've done fantastic, but so GK now here with a decision. Does he feel like calling 654K more? Does he have it in him? It would essentially leave him down to next to nothing, but maybe he might think he can gamble and go flip, but I would have been shocked had he called. Next hand, here on the WPT Steps 2 monthly main event, the 20K guarantee single re-entry. This starts at 2 p.m. and is on the last Sunday of every month. So for your tournament stands, well, we will not have a tournament final table next Sunday because we will be celebrating the birth of this fine place that we call America. And I'm excited for it. Then you can also celebrate the birth of me. I was born on the 30th. So, I mean, you can use the whole week to celebrate me and America and any of your July birthdays. So, however you please. And if you're outside the country, it may just be another day for you. And that's fine, too. All right, 10-9 versus 9-4. The Bomber versus Phil. King 3-5 is nothing connected for Phil. Nothing connected for the Bomber, but that will not stop him anyway. Remain three-handed here on TCH Live. Phil with the advantage over GK and the Bomber, but the Bomber well above 20 big blinds. It's probably like 21 big blinds at this point. And Sergio Lennon with the Apu Nasapita Padalon quote, "Celebrate your country by blowing up a small part of it." I know my Simpsons, bro. All right, pocket sevens here for the Bomber. Yeah, it's a fireworks joke, Sergio. You've been bringing great comments there. I gotcha. All right, top pair here for GK. Bomber here with pocket sevens here on this jack high board. This could be dangerous for Bomber. GK, is he going to play it slow? Is he going to play it fast? Or will it even matter? Bet here by GK, the 35K, and the Bomber thinking about going one more street. Seven is going to be calling here for GK. And all right, the Bomber going to take it. Okay, he gets checked as a GK setting him up. GK is setting him up. Oh, I'm sorry, the ace turn. This is how, we get late here. My apologies to the folks here. He's going to slow down and check it to here to George, but the candidate said he probably feels like George could float with some ace highs here. He could absolutely float with like ace 10, ace 9, ace, but whatever. Like, it's more logical for him to have a hand, say, like ace 3, ace 4, that may have had something extra to continue with. And GK correctly going to call, and then is going to get chips pushed on over. So that will take a hit out of the Bronstein Bomber, but he has already won one of these step 2 monthly main events. So Nate the Great Vasquez. Ace is a good card for George's reign, though. George could take it. Yeah, I mean, it is a reasonable hand range that GK could piece together, thinking that, he could have an ace-X there. The end of Brady. Are you in a glass box near the table or in a completely separate room? That would be hilarious if we did put me in a glass box, like right next to the table. They could see me talking. The players would be like, but what is he saying? No, we're in a separate room in the back here of Texas Card House at the brimming TCH Studios. A fine, eloquent place where magic happens always. As a gutter ball from Bomber and King High, ace high for Phil. Now make it double gutter. And a shove. Phil technically turns a pair here, but you see this line and this action. Like, do you love a 5 here in this spot? You've got the ace of diamonds. So that takes out any of the number of combos or maybe hands you could potentially beat. That would be like ace, like 4 of diamonds or something like that. But William Lottie, the booth sees the game on the same delay as the viewers. Always a oh, wow. Phil's going to call him here. The Bomber has some outs. Phil's going to call him, and he is going to win. And that will knock out Mr. George. A valiant effort. Kept fighting, kept pushing. Kept trying to look for the moments and the opportunities to attack. And heck of a call there by Phil Monday. As we have now reached heads up, and it seemed like we have been circling around this point as George will finish in third. Good game, sir. Again, as he's already taken out a monthly main event, so he's already qualified, so you're already going to see him at the semi-annual event for the right to go to the WPT Steps Championship. Should be on a cruise in October. What a call, though.
Yeah, I'm taking a break, so there's a break on the menu.
10K, 20K with the 20K big blind ante. I think as we try to sort out who's supposed to be the big and who's supposed to be the little. It must be a situation. Okay, wait, let me. How did that last action go out? Phil was on the button. The Bomber was in the big blind. So it should be the button moves to GK, who should be the small blind. Okay, then I think we figured it out. So it sometimes gets a little confusing just because, you know, you just have like a brain fart. Like, where's the button supposed to be oriented here? Then. I agree with you, Nate Vasquez. George probably doing that with a wide range of hands, though, in that position and stack size. Not a lot of better moves. So, great call. You know what? Sometimes Chat Pro will leave a comment that's literally on the mark and you can't disagree with it. And you raise the standard for all the other Chat Pros to Chat Pro more effectively. Are these guys going to take a break or something? Okay, so the break already happened. So, like, in the future, we're already... Okay, well, I don't necessarily want to leave anybody hanging, but, you know, if we're going to be carrying on into the night, I think your broadcaster could use just a little bit of 5 minutes of time. Because the only thing else I would have to ramble about is what was happening in the wide world of sports. And I know for half the audience that maybe they would maybe rather listen to silence. So, all right, so we are going to have a color up here. Stay tuned, folks. We will be staying here with you on the screen. And once the players return back from break, we will return for more of our tournament final table to hear the WPT Steps 2 monthly main event. So hang around with us. It should be like 5-10 minutes. It's about a 10-minute break. Yeah, 10-minute break. So hang on with us. I might be back in less than that. So.
Yes, we have for one. I was here on the day of feeling it while Bert did the race. But I understand that. Trust me. I understand. Give me the extra contest to get the race on yellow. The dumbest thing of all time. We should have 3 extra. What? I don't care about that right now. Just get his extra. Here, just give it to him. I'm gonna go over there and count that too. What? I'm gonna fucking Jesus Christ. Okay. Now fucking race that shit off. Alright, what do you all you have to say word about it. Queen. What's up?
You know where you want me to go?
You're out on break, right?
I've been on break this week.
You've been on break? Then you should have been going to the top.
Josh is going to the top.
Okay, so I can't fix it right now. You're gonna have to go on up front now. Fucking with Justin. I just said just go off in front. That's what I'm saying. Just go to the thing. Yeah. Okay. Just one day. All right. So I got 80, 100, right? 200, 300, 400.
Oh, switch decks? Oh, switch decks.
All right, so while you fine folks are waiting, I can keep you entertained and also keep you up to date as what the heck is going on here. Again, we are taking a little break on the table. Late enough stage in the game. These guys playing 2 in the afternoon. Said, hey, why don't we want to take a moment here in time just to get a bearings underneath us before we go into heads-up battle, which is deep enough stack they could be playing for a while. So understandable. So we appreciate all y'all sticking with us. If you have any questions, comments, you know how to do it. Leave it here in the chat or hit the like while we wait. Okay. Scary K, breaking news. Dun, 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 dun. No, we won't. Joseph Down, stand-up comedy, go. Let me go open the notes app, see if I've got any bits that I used to do 3 years ago. I actually did stand-up comedy through my early 20s, then a little bit in Minneapolis around the open mic scene, and then a little bit here in Austin and Kyle. People are like, yeah, I should do more of it. And I just kind of like, I don't have any time. Because you want to go wait in an open mic like you're literally sitting 2 hours of everybody's bad jokes. And that's, let me tell you something. Sitting through an open mic, I think I would rather pull out all of my toenails than ever attend another open mic ever again. I would probably go check them out, but it is. Oh, I think I used to keep a catalog of jokes in my notes app, so if any moment happens just like this, some that are more concepts than ideas. So, okay, so as we see the deck spread, I'll show you the payouts yet again. Again, each and every Sunday, we do a tournament final table. Generally, each of these weeks is a 7K guarantee freeze out. On the last Sunday of every month is our monthly main event. So, for other tournament action that we have going on here at Texas Card House, again, a Tuesday afternoon, $90 buy-in, I believe, for the 2K guarantee freeze out. Do a Wednesday free roll and no limit hold'em. Friday night PLO. And Saturday afternoon, the 3K guarantee to first place.
He didn't say so, so it's like I'm sitting ducks.
And that is a $100 either re-entry or one add-on. You could do one or the other, but not both. We've got our quads jackpot happening. Mondays quad deuces, Tuesdays quad threes, Wednesdays quad fours. So your chance to win your way automatically on the TCH cruise. We've had a player do so on the live stream a couple of weeks ago. I've not heard if we've had many that have won it outright, but, and again, members appreciation each and every Tuesday, all summer long. That's 50% off, and also ladies' night on Friday. So,
And I kind of want to listen in, to be honest with you. Tell Carolyn I said hi.
all right, we return to play. All is well. Chat Pros Unite as the game continues. Welcome you all back in. If you're just tuning in, the levels have gone up now to 15K, 30K with the 30K Big Blonde Annie.
We're in the hand. We're in the hand right now.
Mark Wisdom, he was moving face. No, but what he's doing is setting the deck, and that's typically done by each dealer during the tournament breaks. So you put that spread out there. Gut shot here for GK. Top pair here for Phil. Phil here with a slight advantage on GK as far as in chips and also in this hand, but a lead here on an unraised pot. Yeah. Oh, Ethan, the remainder of this tournament will be available for $20 exclusively on Poker Go. Yeah, that is kind of a tease. I saw. I mean, I think if you're in that content space, that totally makes sense of why they would do that. Where you've got, you know, a big prize. Like it's clever, but I imagine for the YouTube chat pros, it's probably frustrating. So bet and call here on the end. It goes check, check, turn. Bet lead by GK here with a jack. Hoping maybe that he was going to get looked up by an 8. And he's going to see that Phil did not opt to raise the button with King 6. So we'll see if he adopts a strategy there, realizing that there could be more hands that he could just simply complete with and wait for GK to try to get
No, I was just making sure it was in the same.
proving the deck system. But it just, you know, that's a language. It's what they just called it here. So I just.
Yeah, no, I know. You don't have to worry about knocking down Godzilla stacks over here.
Call here by GK. We'll see if Phil is going to raise actually out of the big blind. Does. And a quick bet and call. GK going to call the 7-4 of clubs. So here we go. We will see a flop. Jack 4-5 is bottom pair for GK. Some backdoor clubs potentially. Probably knows that he can see a number of turn cards that will give him some hope. Is going to call. We'll see if he finds anything that, oh, Jack's up here for Phil. Now bet here by Phil. GK does turn a gut shot himself with his pair, so 4 or 6 would be good for him. A 7 would be devastating. And we'll see with this bet size, does he elect to want to go one more street with it? Maybe feels like, is there any cards that I could potentially bluff at the river to get my opponent off the hand? And the 5 is probably not going to be one of them. There's no way realistically for, okay, he will check it back, hoping his 4 will be good, and Phil's Jackson 8's way good here in the spot. And now GK, he was a victim of a big comeback on TCH Live in our tournament final table in step 1 earlier, which got him his entry here into step 2. And now he's going to have to make a comeback himself. And I think he's got it in him. I absolutely do. So appreciate you guys hanging with us. We just come back off of break. So I expect probably Phil's not going to try to play for really super big pots pre. Like, I think he's going to exercise some pot control and wait for moments for GK to maybe get more over aggressive. So I would expect he's with the massive advantage that he does not want to necessarily overcommit himself to spots on the button that, you know, say he makes it like 90 and his opponent comes over the top, which is, oh, what does GK have here? We'll see here in a moment. He's like 342K, so is now going to be a raise up here on the button by GK. Min raise, min call. Let's go to a flop, as they call it in the biz. I've already got a check here by Phil in the dark, and an open ender here now for GK. Oh, 5 would be devastating, but a shove. Phil technically with the best hand, but not quite as much equity. Queen high, kind of good, but realistically, he's playing his hand like a gut shot, not necessarily a high card, so we'll make the fold. If you would like to leave us a super sticker or super chat to show your appreciation these late night hours, warm our hearts out by opening up your wallets. Donate here to the stream, the super sticker or super chat. Open fold here by Phil. Easy as that. So GK here with 15 big blinds, and right now I'm actually hearing the live mic from the table, not necessarily from the delay. And folks, the future has got some very scary possibilities. These guys are talking about taking their shirts off. I don't know what in the heck has happened here in the last 10 to 15 minutes that has led them to this. So
I'm all about pleasing the people that are staying up late night
9-6 suited here for GK out of the big blind, and I expect he will probably check his option. Yep, he's going to do it. Pairs up here for Phil as you make a pair, you just bet and heads up. That's the rules. And check two in position. Yeah, nothing really complex about it. You just bet your hand and see what the heck happens, especially rainbow board too. That the number of potential combos that you potentially read from your opponent just become a lot, more narrow, I think, at spots like this. So Joseph down, putting a clamp on the chat, saying next person who says something has to do super chat. It's putting a lot of pressure on everybody else here, bud. All right, while it is time, I guess we're going to have to unleash a poll here. Press 1 for GK. 2 for Phil. Make your vote. Who's going to win? Is it going to be GK or is it going to be Phil? Bet at 35 here on the bottom pair, middle pair here for GK. See if Jeff has some votes for 3. Mostly votes for 2. Okay, we're starting to see some more 1s here. And Trip Jacks gives GK the immortal lock on this hand. Phil's going to try to lead at this. See, bet flop, got called. Bet turn, and now getting shoved on. And he has no club in his hand. It does actually put out 3 clubs. I expect he's kind of posturing here. He made a big hero Carl on George in a previous hand. When they got to the turn, it was like Jack 9-7. Then he turned to 5 with Ace 5. And he called with a 5. But, I mean, this would be such a lighter call than that. Phil is going to listen to the devil on his shoulder and is going to double up GK. No card that can come that could improve his hand. GK is now going to have a 835K chip stack.
That's it, bud. I got a little loose there.
Ethan asking, did he jam because of the club? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what allowed, I think, GK to get called, because I think Phil can be put in a spot, thinks like, I can win the tournament right here. Maybe he has King 10 with a King of Clubs, or 10-9, or just a naked Ace of Clubs with any random other connected card with it. So he knows GK can play enough hands that there's more than just Trip Jacks being in there, but that's why you've got to be able to pick your spots. Okay, I hear there. Okay, never mind. Metal Junior, Mike Yumble, that you're related to Gank. No, I might be. Again, I was kind of tutored by him and trained by him very, very early, back in like 2005 when I was in college. So I got to know him through teachings of a thing that he had called Pro Poker School, which was like literally like what we would have now, like Zoom sessions. We'd have like an interactive whiteboard to go through spreadsheets. It was way more archaic for the technology that we would have at that time, but it was really cool. Brett was a really cool guy, and still's a cool guy. But I don't think he does as much in poker, but legitimately a really, really cool guy. Like, but I don't think we're related. But All right, the GK going to call it the 6-3 of spades, and Phil still with the advantage, but GK knocking on the door. Does 4-3 versus 6-3. Metal Junior, wow, awesome. He was my bro 15 years ago. We played every PLO8 tournament against each other for years. Oh, yeah. He loved him some Omaha high-low. Really loved some Omaha high-low for sure. Obviously, bracelet winner in that aspect, but it's PLO8 such a, well, we're going to have Phil going for a bluff here. 6 high is technically the best, and no way GK could possibly know that he's getting bluffed by 4 high while he holds 6 high. That's not going to happen. So, but yeah, Metal Junior talking about Brett Youngblood. It was a WSOP winner back in like 2004 with the crew. Omaha 8 or better specialist. I felt kind of frustrated by PLO 8 because it just feels like we live for the idea of having a concept of two-way hands and ones that both play the high and the low, and I just tend not to be a victim or anything. Every time I play PLO 8, I feel like every fucking hand bricks. So I think it's a fantastic game. I hate playing it because you got to play tight technically, and every time you play loose is literally just, I mean, you're just inviting trouble unless you're really highly skilled and know how to navigate those spots. And all right, 10 high versus 6 high. Seth Bryant, you just wait for the nuts, right? I mean, in theory, that's what you're supposed to do, but if you get into games and you're playing against tougher players, is Phil's going to bet this and get a full, like, people are going to know that you're basically nut peddling and you can be pushed off of one side of the pot with weaker holding. So it's a lot more intricate than that, but it's like when I've tried to play tight strategy, it doesn't work. When I've tried to play loose, it doesn't work. So just like, you know what? This fucking game sucks. I love Omaha 8 or better, but it done me wrong. Limit 08's pretty good. Then you don't just get people that mash the pot button. Pot, and you're like, wow, this is a really fun game. Okay, then between my Omaha 8 or better rant that hand continues, 15K, 30K with a 30K big blind ante heads up of our monthly main event, deep past the midnight hour. I prepared myself to be ready for 1 a.m. poker here today, and not shocked. This is currently where we're at. Mark Wisdom, best way to play is to misread your hand. I really think that is the best strategy. If I just imagine I have a different hand, then that's the one that will not get there, so it will effectively make my hand stronger. You got a raise here by Phil. GK not going to defend with the king high. As Phil back with the advantage. Eugene Green, you're always getting the right price to call in Omaha. Seth Bryant, I continually try to play PLO 4 like an idiot and lose my hold'em winnings. Yeah, that's not even high low. Like that's just high only. Yeah, there's a little bit more variable degrees and things. I don't even know if that's really a correct statement, but there are certainly some more subtleties and more variance, so it can look like you're playing like an idiot, and that's how the best Omaha players make their living, is off of people that make mistakes. And to raise up here to 85, I also think they provide sacrifice to the gods, because hey, chat pro Randy Shapiro. Mike, what's up, my man? What's going on, Randy? this chat pro was in the chat and then flew here to Texas Card House the next day. That's elite chat pro status. There's wow, GK with a limp raise, 8 deuce of diamonds. It really is late into the night. So Phil here with ace 5. And almost 4-1 chip lead on GK. Is going to flop bottom pair for GK, a wheel draw, and ace 5 for Phil. Shove all in here by GK. Phil with no spades in his hand. No real natural candidates for him to assume a GK could be bluffing with here. Heads up. Like it's... I guess if he just thinks he has any too, ace high could be good in a lot of respects, but ace 3 or 5 would be good enough to win it here, and he's thinking about doing it. As we'll go ahead and fold. So strong bet by GK, recovers some chips and crawls back. He's right there within reaching distance here between second and first. Randy Shapiro, look forward to seeing Alex here crushing it soon. You know when he'll be playing? Well, he's currently too busy single-handedly raising the price of real estate here. So we don't know if he's going to have enough time to really play on the stream with all that and goes to, you know, manipulating the housing market from being a Californian. If you guys don't get it, it is a joke. It was literally Randy's joke, but okay. It's not good when you've got to explain a joke that you've just told. All right, Phil maybe looking to try to set a trap, seeing if GK maybe will erupt out of the big blind. GK guys are tough to put on a hand sometimes. As top pair here for Phil. Nothing but backdoors here for GK. Ten of diamonds going to turn as bet at 55K. Then Phil, I don't suspect is going to go anywhere, but GK got the big diamond draw, so the old 10 high diamonds and bet and call. Let's go into a much anticipated river. It is going to be a king. Oh, GK. Are you going to try to bluff into your opponent here? No, he is. Oh, wow. Did Phil act out of turn? I think Phil acted out of turn. I'm not sure if GK checked yet. So now GK trying to figure out, is Phil full of it? Is there a moment here where 10 high could technically be good against your 9 highs, 8 highs, etc., unpaired hands? And this is kind of why heads up can be so weird. Is like you can be put into spots where, based on the line and based on the opponent, you can find moments where 10 high is good. But this is not one of them. All right, Ethan. Machin or Machin, I think it's probably Machin. What are the biggest differences between 1-2 and 2-5? I'm close to being bankrolled enough to move up. All right, I can only speak to the differences specifically to what I see generally out in the cash streets. Generally, 1-2 is going to be very multi-way very often. 2-5 is going to be much deeper stack with the ability for opponents to continually play deeper and deeper as the session goes on because of the match stack factor. So, like, you're going to find yourself in a lot more heads-up situations or maybe just 3-way as opposed to 4 and 5-way, which is just another fucking, you know, curveball to everything else. We got a hand, though. Jack 6 versus Jack 7. And it's diamonds flopping here for GK. Fundamental differences. I mean, you'll typically, I think, like the stronger players will be stronger, and the weaker players will still be. I don't know. There's got to be a way to phrase this that it's like. That I don't think is cliche or like you couldn't just Google this and get the same. Daniful. Eugene Green, the rake is beatable at 2-5. I think if they're talking about a game that does take rake in a time break game, like you can be just fine here at Texas Card House if you're paying $12 an hour versus like paying $12 per like 2 hands. Then you get fully raked on. So that's a much better deal for the players, and I think as 1-2 player, it is awesome. Eugene Green, probably the right point. 2-5 is Rex with more money. That's like our world here at TCH is, I think, a little bit different than your brick and mortar casino. And I know I've talked about this a million times. You know, it's bigger here in Texas. Well, I mean, it's because it's a layer of truth to that. So, all right, we got a hand here. GK out of the big blind with ace queen of diamonds. Phil had limped on the button with 10-5 offsuit, and nothing flopping for either. Ace high good. GK will probably lead at this. Hey, what's going on? David Fulton says said good morning, y'all. Imagine some late night TCH viewers here. A little surprised to see us still streaming here at this hour. We welcome you in. Make sure to hit the like. Leave us a comment if you're watching on the archive. Next hand here as 15K, 30K, but the big blind Annie. Should be an awesome 5-10 game tomorrow night. 5-10-25. It's played a little bit bigger. I mean, we had just a monster pot. We had boots and coins and chase, DQ. We had the San Antonio crew kind of come on and mix in with Chaz on commentary. We had a great stream last week. And oh no. Aces here for Phil, 5s here for GK, heads up. The dream scenario, Phil has picked up pocket aces for the chance to win it all. To win the monthly main event. This tournament that we run on the final Sunday of each month. And will this induce a shove by GK? GK opened here to 90K, then he gets min 3-bet back here to 180. Oh, he's trying to grab it all. Here it comes right in the middle, and it's going to get snapped and shown. The aces here for Phil, pocket 5s for GK. A chance to get the W here for Phil. Can GK hold on? He's going to turn a ton of ounces. Not going to get there. Oh, GK has gotten heads up here twice this month. And this one kind of getting coolered out of it. And it means Phil Monday is your 4th WPT Steps 2 monthly main event winner. He'll be advancing to Step 3, the semi-annual event that will happen a little bit later on. So that is going to put a big bow on this one. Close it out in the hour. Thank you, super producer Carolyn. To all of our dealers, Flores. A big day for us here at Texas Card House. We'll see you tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.
Congratulations, sir. Congratulations to you, sir.
Oh yeah, you gotta take your picture.